Folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we're going to work on another bracelet using the Dress It Up buttons in the Very Peri Micro Hearts, and then the Very Peri Fancy Button Mix with some Sari Silk and some wire. So let's turn down and we'll see how that goes. What we are going to make is a bracelet like this one. We probably won't put as many dangles on this bangle, but this is a bangle style bracelet with a adjustment right here. This is my own personal one, but this is what we're going to make something similar to this. Now I used Sari Silk from Jessie James. I don't have any, so we're going to use Sari Silk instead. It works the same way. The only real difference is that the Very Silk is stitched or is hemmed all along the edge, so it doesn't ravel like the Sari Silk does. But anyway, we're going to make a bracelet quite similar to this one. So let's put this aside and we will look at the items we're going to use. This is our length of Sari Silk. It is approximately, let's measure it, shall we? 24, 30, about 32 inches. And then we have the Periwinkle Micro Hearts, Very Peri, I should say, and the Fancy Button Mix. We're going to use some of these as well, probably the flower-like ones. And then we have some tassels, which we'll put a couple tassels on the bangle for the decoration at the end. So the first thing we need is, well, this is the first thing we need, the 14 gauge German style wire. And this is 24 gauge, and it's what's going to do these wraps. And in place of the stones, we're going to put some of the buttons. So the first thing we need to do is make our bracelet, and we're going to use an artistic wire, which is by Beadalon, little bracelet mandrel. So what we're going to do with this is the 14 gauge wire, is we're going to we need to wrap this first one around here. Actually, it needs to go like this. So we'll wrap it around this pin. And I think I just went the wrong way. We need to have this go this direction. Then we're going to go all the way around this oval part here. Past this first pin. Oops, popped off. Don't want that. Back over to the second pin. And then turn this up this direction. So there is how it goes onto the mandrel. Now we're going to need to trim the excess off of here and pull this off the mandrel. So by excess I mean the hooks right here, because we're not going to need that much. What this is for is to make loops to hang on to the other bar. So we will take our heavy-duty clippers and we're going to clip this off here and approximately the same length here. And then we'll pull this off of the form. As you can see it's popped up a little bit, and that's fine. And we don't need our form anymore unless we might need to fix anything. So the next thing we want to do is form these into loops, and then we'll turn the loops and they'll go over the wire. Now, if we weren't going to do this the way I am going to do it, you could put, before you hook this together, you could put beads in here if you wanted to. But I'm not going to do that. We're going to make this loop. So I am going to use my bell making pliers, and we are going to turn this loop here, and one over on the other side. And as you can see, I have it too big, and that's fine. I'm going to trim it off. And that's actually a really crappy looking loop. So let's see if we can straighten it up some. That's much better. So now we need to turn this one over here as well. As you can see, I have extra, so we're going to cut that off by going in really close to where we need to have the finish. Now, since this is 14 gauge, this is tough wire, so you need to be careful with it. You don't want it to fly and hit you or anything like that. Okay, now that we have that done, what we need to do is to turn these sideways in the direction of the other bar. Just like that. That we have these loops made, we're going to open them up like you would a jump ring, turning it side to side. Then you're going to slide it down and go over the bar. So, and then just tighten it back up like you would a jump ring. Bring her back over here. Get the other side. There we go. There we are. There's our bangle base. So, pretty cool, huh? Now, I noticed that this one is a little bit, looks a little wonky. So if you want to, you could put it, slide it back over your mandrel and push it, pull it and push it till it's sort of the way you want it again. And so here we go. Now we'll start with our next step. And our next step is to wrap our Sari Silk around the bangle base. But we'll need our wire to do that. And we need a really long piece, pretty long piece of this, because we're not only going to wrap the Sari Silk up, but we're going to wrap down here, and then when we come back, we're going to add our buttons to the top. So let's get some wire cut. Now I'm using 24 because I want it to be small enough and flexible enough to go through the buttons twice, because that's what you're going to want to do. So I'm putting about, oh, I don't know, maybe a yard out here. And we don't need this quite yet. This is, but we want it cut. You want to cut this now because after you wrap this, it's going to try and unravel on you. So you need to have this ready to tighten up the one end. So just wrap your Sari Silk around the bangle, starting about the middle of your short side here. It's going to give you problems, trust me on that. Just wrap it and just keep wrapping it around your bangle till you reach about the other side, then turn around and come back, because you're going to need the double now you could, and I have done this before and it's sometimes helpful, other times the wire just gets in your way, but you could just take the end of your 24 gauge wire and wrap a couple of turns around the end over here to help you hold it in place. See, it's trying to unravel on me there, or unwrap. It's just like a spool of wire when you take your clip off. It goes wee. Sari Silk's gotten onto my loop. Okay, I think one more should do it, and then we're going to turn around and go back the other direction. Right here. Now go back. Now the Fairy Silk, you wouldn't have any little ravelly edges for it. The Sari Silk will have some. Sometimes I think it gives it a little more character, and other times I'm like, oh, that looks messy. But if you have little strings hanging off like this one, after you get this finished, you can just take your scissors and clip the extra little bits off. Oh, baby. Now you don't have to hold this so much because you've got it wrapped enough that the silk itself is holding it. So now we have a little bit left, so let's go back and get over to the other side as far as possible. Now if you didn't want to wrap it this third time, you probably could have trimmed it right there, but every wrap makes it a wee bit thicker. So if you want a thicker bangle, you want to do the third wrap if you have enough. And if you want a thinner bangle, then you can cut the Sari Silk there at the other side where I turned it over there. And there we have our wrap. So now the next thing we need to do is take our wire, and we want to make a few wraps here to hold it in place. and squish that down because I just poked my finger with it. Okay. So here's what we look like so far. If you need to make some little adjustments, this is the time to do it. So now that we've got this far, we are going to start wrapping with the wire. So all you do is you take your length of wire and just go up the bangle. Don't, just give yourself a quarter inch, half inch up and just wrap it around. And this is going to hold your sari silk in place. When you get to the end over here, then take it and wrap it pretty good. Now remember, if you didn't get enough wire, this is where you can add some more. Because we're making quite a few wraps right here. So if you want to do so, you could do a slightly smaller piece and just, like I say, add more wire right here. So here's what we look at this stage. So now we're going to get some buttons out, and we're going to start on our next stage, which is to put the buttons up along the top of your bracelet. So we'll get some of the little micro hearts out. Then we're going to open up this package, the Very Peri Button Mix. Oop. Get back up here, baby. I want this title so that I know what I'm doing later. And we'll just, another staple. Oh, well, that's all right. I can get around that. So what we want from here are these flower ones. So we'll get 3 or 4 of those out. Yeah, looks like I got 5 here, so we might as well take 5. But the first one we're going to grab is one of these little micro hearts. So just drop the little heart, go through one of the holes. Come on, baby. There we go. Oop. Good show, Rose. Drop all your buttons everywhere. And then we're going to take and drop it down here into place. Then we'll take our wire, go through the other buttonhole, and carefully pull the wire all the way through. Okay. Go. top there. Now we'll make another bit of wire around. We'll put another one right here. And I think I'm going to go with one of the little hearts again since we're on the ends. Oh, baby, go through there. I'll go through with the other hole. Well, come on, sweetie. Go through. Now this is why we're going with 24 gauge instead of anything thicker. We could even do this with 26 and it might even be better because these tiny little holes, you know, they're right pretty close to each other and we want the wire to go all the way through. So it needs to, oh dear, it looks like I got that hooked through the one below it. We don't want that. So let's come back out of there and then bring it up and bring her into place. Okay, now we'll go up another little bit. See how that's looking with the little hearts in there? Isn't that cute? So now we're going to go and do one of these bigger ones. Upsy daisy. Bring it around. And then we're going to drop our wire through the other hole. And there we have the next button on. And pull her back up. Now since this is wire, you can pull it and twist it and tighten it up if you need to, which is what I'm doing right here, because as you can see right here I got a gap. And we definitely don't want a gap. So we're going to pull this through here. Oop, don't mean to do that. And then tighten it up. Pull it up there. There we go. That's much better. And that looks better down there. So now we're going to bring this around. And I think I'm going to bring it actually all the way around once. And I was debating if I wanted to put some more little hearts all the way along the top, but I'm thinking I'll just put two over here and maybe put two flowers here, a little heart, two more flowers, and then two hearts, and I think that will be everything. So get this right here. Now, if you need to take your pliers to pull your wires, start pulling your wires through, by all means do that. Sometimes it's easier said than done to get your wire through, especially once it wants to try to start kinking up, which is what this one's doing. And unfortunately, if it kinks too much, it might break. So you got to be careful and try not to let it get too kinked up. So now we're going to put a little heart on, because I think we're about at the middle point. and then get the next couple flowers. Let's get one of the little hearts. Drop it down onto the bangle. Now in this instance, we're going to have to hold it tight. The other ones, in case you didn't notice, I pulled it tight after I got this baby in place, or after I got them in place. This one I'm not going to be able to do that with because I want it in this specific spot. Okay, there's our little heart in place. And I hope I got enough here to do the other things I want to do. You can manipulate this some until you got it finished, so go ahead and do that if you need to. Next flower. Now, you don't have to make a pattern with these. If you'll noticed from my original one I showed you, it did not have a pattern. They were all different stones, and they were all mixed together. And that's a really fun way to do one of these bracelets, is exactly like that. Okay, up and about. The next flower. Down with the wire. I put my finger in here to try and keep it from kinking up. It doesn't always work, as you saw earlier, but it is helpful. It does help to keep it from kinking so much, but it doesn't take care of the problem entirely generally. But we do what we can. Okay. Now we need to put the first of the little hearts on right here, and I think we may have just enough room here. So two more little hearts, and we got this top of the bangle done. So let's grab the first one, and I'm now going to turn it so that the heart faces the other direction, since this one's going uphill instead of down. Like there may just be enough wire here. Actually, we may need to get a teeny bit more just to do the wrap there at the base. Okay, so we want this wire to come up tighter, this one to come down. Come on, baby, you kinked, naughty. Now we want to yank on this as little as possible because, quite frankly, the wire will get weak if we do kink on it too much. And this kink is a weak spot. So I'm just going to squish it down No, that's not going to work because it now is sharp there. Come on, baby, pull that kink through. There's every possibility this might break right here. And if it does, then we will just get another piece of wire and start from the bottom and go up and come back. Yep, there she goes. That's what I was afraid of because that wire kinked on me right there. So it made it weak. So we're going to just cut this little button loose. And we will pull this piece of wire where we are wrapped here up and over and tuck it under this button. And tighten her up under there. So now, since we've done that, we'll get another little piece of wire out. We don't need a lot because we're just going to do this little bit here on this end. And instead of starting there, we're going to start down here at this end. And we're going to do that wrap that we need to do. Now, if your wire starts sliding like it just tried to do on me, take the little tail, hold it right against your wire bar to keep it from making tracks out of there. Okay. Now I'm going to put on the bottom heart and then the top heart, and then we'll wrap it back down over here and maybe wrap a few more times. We'll see. So back on here. And put this little baby right here. Now if it goes loose again like it did on the other side, it's all right because I'm working the other direction, and so I can wrap it around if I need to. So let's put our finger in to pull it down and try and keep that kink out of there this time. Now see, it wants to do that, so that's fine. We're going to just bring it around with the wrap. And now it's in place. Pretty cool, huh? And now we'll put the last one right here. This will be our last little heart we're going to put on. Here, go through here, bring her down, put your finger in to make it, keep it from kinking as much as possible. Now, I suppose since we are trying to keep this from kinking as much as we can, we could have used something else in there. Now see, I got it too far in. It's not got enough wire to come to the top. So we're going to have to do a little adjusting here. So either we have to get it to go into the button a little more, or we have to give it a little bit more wire to hang off. So I'm going to try and tighten it up some by sliding it out like you would anything else that you want to have less of something. So let's see what we can do here. And hopefully we won't kink it again. Let's see, where's my awl at? Ah, there it is. I'm going to put my awl in here to hold it from kinking as I pull it tighter. Now, since we have those on there and we have an extra bit of wire, we're going to go up and around here so that that will hold where that other wire is loose. Back here, around here, back down, and then add a few more wraps right here at our base of our ribbon. And then we'll cut those off and trim them. So cut this wire right here, and this one here. Pull you up a little higher. And then get our pliers and push our little wires down some. And with a little luck, they'll sink into the silk some, and so they won't be out pokey. Okay, here's a pokey one here, feels like. Oh, that's the original wire. Okay. Let's get this pulled around. And then this one. Okay, that feels good, but I see that I've got a wire poking up right here. We don't want any wires poking up. Still something poking right there. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I see it. Okay, that's better. So here we go with our bangle. Like I say, you can adjust your cloth some if you need to with your fingers. You'll need to push a little hard because now we've got it wire wrapped twice, so it's pretty good in there. So there is the top of our bangle. Now we just need to make it a couple of tassels. So to make it some tassels, I'm thinking I want to use, well, a couple of the tassels here. Just use 2 of those. And one of these flowers again. And let's see. Now let's see how this works. Maybe we'll just put a couple of these tassels and one of these buttons. So let's work on that. Question becomes, do we want to use something on here, or do we want to just have a straight? Does it want to have the button and the tassel? Just a tassel? How do we want to do that? So I think we could just hook the little tassels on either side, and then we'll make something in the middle. So let's get a couple of jump rings. Got a might find my tiny ones here. There we go. Now I noticed that the tassels have gold tops, and we've been using silver, but I can live with that. So we'll put one of the tassels on either side of the bar. And you don't have to have tassels on here or dangles or anything if you don't want them. That is one of those personal preference kind of things. You could just leave it as is and not put on the tassels. Come on, tassel. Okay. Even though I used little jump rings here, you could use bigger ones. They don't have to be this tiny, especially since you've got a big loop there. So there's those two. And now let's decide how we want to do the button one. Thinking we're not going to need these little guys, so I'm going to close them up and set them aside so we don't lose them. Couple of these flower ones, so maybe we'll use those. Two. Yeah, I like three, so we'll just use the one in the middle. So what I'm going to do is get a little piece of wire out, and then we're just going to wire wrap it on. Okay, I've got a little purple 3mm Czech glass bead, and yes, that's a Jesse James bead as well, and a little bit of silver wire. So we're going to make a loop here, put this on, bring it up to this little bead, and then loop again, and then we'll hook it to the middle here. So let's make a little wire wrap loop here. And I'm going to use my bell making pliers. I'm going to use this bigger one because we're going to go through this button. Go up and around, spin it down, and there we have our loop. So we'll just slide this button through one of the buttonholes, slide it up and through this wire. Come on, baby, go on. Then we're going to bring this back up here and hold it while we give it a couple of loops here. Now, if you feel that your hands are just not going to do this, grab a second pair of pliers. You don't have to do that by hand. I just usually do when I'm working with regular wire. If I'm working with some head pins and eye pins, I will use a second pair of pliers because, well, it hurts my fingers to do it, because some of those are really tough. So now we have the flower on. We'll put this little bead on here. Well, maybe we will. It doesn't seem like it wants to go on the wire. It doesn't. So actually I was thinking that's a little small. I have some really pretty purple Czech glass beads from Jesse James Beads up here in my stash. So that's not them. We will get, oh, those will match pretty good, won't they? So these are some more of the Czech glass fire polished beads from Jesse James Beads. I believe this is the lilac, and they're 8mm, very pretty. So we'll put this little baby back in its case. Oop! And I just dropped them. Which I will have to find in a moment. That's my gray ones that just fell. So then we'll put this on here. Do a wire wrap loop. Now I'm going to the stepped pliers, and I'm going to use the smallest one to make my loop. So we'll just go into the bend, put the smallest up of the head pins up, wrap around, drop it down, bring it down, make sure you're straight like a lollipop. Sometimes when you wrap it, it goes to one side, so you got to be careful of that. And then just do a wrap. And cut the excess off, being careful not to cut anything extra. Oh, come on, baby. There we go. And tuck in that spot. Now we have a really cute little dangle to go on our middle bar. So let's get another jump ring out. Don't need those anymore. Open this up. Twist, bing. Hook this onto here and onto this bar. Now, like I say, you don't have to put any tassels or anything dangles on this side if you don't want to, if you don't like a dangle or a tassel. You can put on more, you can put on less. But here we are with this in. If we wanted to, we could move these two little tassels into the inside so they're all three right here. Though this is how it opens and closes to tighten it up. So you know, I may move the tassels into the inside. I think that would look better. They're a little separated right now. So let's do that. Let's move the tassels into the inside. Now though, if you do this, make sure you get all your tassels on the same bar. They look a little funny if you got them on two different bars here. So get this baby on. Wow, I think I need to spread it just a touch over here. We'll put one on one side of this dangle and one on the other side. Go. Open this side up. Drop the tassel there almost. Okay. Twist, twist, back into place. Now you don't want to open your jump rings up too many times because it will weaken them, but I think we're good. Now see, I like that better with the three together. And there we are. Oops, get this little bit of Sari Silk out of the way here. Now it's sticking to my hand. But anyway, here we are, finished with our bracelet. Isn't that cute? Like I say, if you need to do some little adjusting, you can do that. It's pretty easily done, actually. And if it feels to you like the wires are a little loose, you could take your nylon jaw pliers and go in here and just do some little scooshing. But anyway, there is our finished bracelet. Like I say, you just spread it like this. Anyway, so that's the bracelet. I hope you enjoyed watching me do this. And there we go. Okay, there's our finished bracelet. Our little tassels and the button dangle. All the little flowers and hearts across the top of our Sari Silk. So we can get that focus better. Oh, I guess it has to be close to me. So anyway, hope you like that. This has been a really cute little tutorial for this pretty little bangle bracelet, which is made using the artistic wire bracelet maker. So this has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and I hope you've enjoyed this. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.